BlacKkKlansman is written and directed by Spike Lee, and it stars John David Washington and Adam Driver. Now, this is certainly a film that a lot of people have been looking forward to. It's also produced by Jordan Peele. So obviously all the people that really loved Get Out were, I'm sure, really looking forward to this film. And I was looking forward to this film as well, but for kind of a different reason, because I actually wasn't a huge fan of Get Out. I kind of thought that that film is kind of overrated, and I have a whole video on that if you want to check that shit out. And I also haven't agreed much with the writer and director Spike Lee's opinions from time to time, especially when he kind of threw shade at Tarantino. Because he didn't approve of the way he was using the N-word in his films. So for reasons like that, you know, I haven't really thought of him as the greatest person ever. But I really went into this film trying to go in with the most open mind, but the whole point of me establishing this is that I was skeptical. And walking out of BlacKkKlansman, I have to say this film is very well directed and very well written and very well executed overall. I felt that this was a very thought-provoking film, and I was really impressed by that because when it gets to these films about race in America, or just, you know, race in general, anything that has to do with politics just in general, that's a kind of a dicey area because if not done right, it can really come off as really one-sided and biased. But this film, I felt like was really refreshing because it was thought-provoking on all phases. This film doesn't just blanketly portray a group of people as horrible, and it also doesn't blanketly portray a group of people as perfect little saints either. This film, like I stated earlier, I feel like is very nuanced. This film also has some pretty good performances. John David Washington, I haven't really seen him in much of anything, but he gives a pretty great performance with the lead role. His character named John Stallworth, by the way, is a real character. This happened pretty much in real life. I don't know how much of it is actually accurate or false, but I'm pretty sure at least a good chunk of it is accurate. And his portrayal of this person in history, I thought was really interesting and very convincing. And Adam Driver, being the great actor that he is, of course, gave an outstanding performance in this film. And you know, I could tell that this was probably a tough role for him because he has to play the face of his voice that's actually pretending to be a white dude over the phone, and he has to be the face of that and be the one to go and actually infiltrate the KKK. And that being the fact of the matter, he has to say some ugly shit in order to fit in, and it's some ugly shit. And he also has to hear a lot of ugly shit from everybody else in the Klan, and it's all just very ugly and very ignorant and kind of comical at times. Like, it's so ignorant that you just laugh at it because you're just like, oh my god, you're stupid. I just thought that was really funny, but also just really thought-provoking on its own, because most people who are like that disgustingly racist are really dumb. Just like ultimately super dumb. And another really impressive aspect about this film to me was the writing. A lot of the writing I just thought was really clever, and it also, like, beyond it being thought-provoking, it just drew a lot of really intriguing and relevant parallels to what's happening today in our society in America. It's really interesting to see how a lot of the societal issues that went on during that time are happening today. But you know, it's not like dramatic about it. Like, it's not making like a huge leap. And like, for example, it's not like the people who are saying, oh, you know, slavery is still happening today and it's even worse. You know, it's not really like that. It's not taking like a big dramatic leap, you know, about something that happened in the past that's still happening today. But it just drew some really like thought-provoking parallels. And one thematic element about this movie that I thought was pretty impressive and powerful was that, you know, it shows you that yes, there can be wrong and radical beliefs on both sides. Even the oppressed who are fighting against, you know, some obvious societal superiority, even they can produce ideas that shouldn't be condoned. And but what I thought was really interesting is that even though they produce these radical ideas that again should not be condoned, the foundation as to why those ideas spawn is totally different from the other group. Like, for instance, this movie has a very interesting segment in its third act, I believe, that kind of goes back and forth between black power and white power. I feel the film was trying to counter people who often say, oh, white power and black power, you know, it's all bad, it's all racism. this film conveyed in a really interesting way that, yeah, technically these are both very kind of technically radical beliefs to have, but you have to understand that one is based on just a long, disgusting history of just nonsensical, immoral, and just pure ignorant practices that don't make any sense, and the other one is based on just figuring out what to do with a system that's just been treating them completely unfair throughout our history. And I feel like this film really drew that conclusion in a really thought-provoking and very illustrative way. And then on the flip side, it also kind of challenges the liberal viewpoint of police. I thought it was really impressive to see that this film, you know, just obviously it's not going to just blanket all cops as horrible, and it also just didn't make the black cop be the good cop and all the white cops were just racist assholes. You know, this film is more nuanced than that. It does show you that in order to get things done, we need cooperation, not just from one group of people, but really from everybody to really make something happen. And again, that's why I really thought this film was really impressive to me, because again, I went into this film with a more skeptical viewpoint, and to see that I actually enjoyed a film from a director that I really haven't enjoyed most of his opinions, I was really impressed by this film. I do have some minor criticisms, but I guess the biggest one would just be that I felt like the very ending to this movie kind of force-fed a message that I felt like I definitely already had a grip on as I was watching it. And it's that theme of just, again, how things back then are kind of showing similar parallels to what's happening today. And I feel like it kind of force-fed that theme pretty hard at the very end. It didn't really lose its impact. I still thought it was, you know, kind of effective. But I just felt like, you know, it wasn't the most ambiguous, and I felt like, dang, you really wanted to get that point across. And I felt like he already got that point across, because it was already directed and written in a very unique way to where you definitely get that message, but it's done in a very, again, non-force-fed way. But yeah, I'll have to say that, you know, I'm pretty surprised that I found myself enjoying this film that much. It's not my absolute favorite of the year. It might make it on my top 10, that's for sure. But I thought it was really good. I was impressed by it. It's very entertaining. This film also takes its time a lot, but it was never boring. That's really a point I never really touched on, but this film really takes its time and it doesn't rush into anything. It takes quite a while to really get into any of the stuff with the Klan. But this movie, even though it's kind of long and it takes its time, it never really bores you. At least not for me. I was engaged pretty much throughout this entire film. So I'm going to give BlacKkKlansman an 8.6 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for hearing what I had to say about BlacKkKlansman. If you guys have already seen it, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And don't forget to follow my Twitter account if you haven't already. It's twitter.com/MisfitPawn. Pretty simple. If you forget, the link is down in the description box below. And don't forget to subscribe to the Misfit Pawn channel to be updated on more film-related content.